Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Witchin' and Winin'. I am your resident witch, Miranda.
And I am your resident Miranda Christal. But today it is vodka because I need something a little more strong. So yesterday I had to put my soulmate, the other half of me, to sleep. Tedward Theodore Bear, and I've been struggling pretty hard. But we are dedicating this episode to Mr. Bear, and it is all about animal ghosts.
Yes, all about animals. And I know it's been a long time since you've heard from us. I'm sure many people are understanding with the duties of a full-time worker, parent, wife, that sort of thing. But yeah, as Crystal said, this episode is dedicated to Teddy. I knew little Tedward, Theodore Teddy, or Theodore Bear, right?
Mm-hmm. Teddy Bear.
Yeah, Teddy Bear. I met him a long time ago, before Olive was born, and he was definitely Crystal's other half. That dog had gone through everything with her.
He's gone through undergrad with me and grad school and marriage and kids and traveling across the country repeatedly, and he is my everything, and he had a good life. He had a good long 16 years, so.
Yes.
But I was going to start off with some stories from people on Reddit of their experiences, and then I have some famous stories of animal spirits. So, Redditor, well, I don't know, because their name was deleted. But they said, most recent was last summer. It was late afternoon. I was in my driveway warming up the grill when I saw a strange mutt peep around the end of the fence and then retreat. This happened several times. He eventually came around it and walked cautiously up the driveway to drink out of the dish a potted plant was sitting in. I could hear him lapping up the water. He was emaciated, clearly starving. I figured that he smelled the grill and was hoping for a handout, which I would indeed have given once I got things going. But he didn't hang around. Refreshed, he walked 3 houses up the hill and lay down on a water company manhole cover in the middle of the street. He was rolling around on it and wagging his tail more happily than it seemed an animal in his condition should have done. I thought it was odd, as it had been quite a hot afternoon, and it seemed like the warm metal would have been uncomfortable. Also, I was concerned for him, as cars frequently burned over the top of the hill, such that there had been several confrontations between parents and drivers over it. I watched in horror as one of my neighbors hopped in her minivan, backed right over the dog, and then drove blithely up over the hill.
Oh, man.
The car didn't hesitate at all. There were no screams, was no body, no bloody streak going up the road. The medium-sized dog had simply vanished right as the car backed over him.
Okay. I would have had a heart attack.
Yeah.
I would have screamed. He didn't hear me screaming. It would have been me. It would have been me.
He's a happy little ghost dog.
Yeah. Living his best life.
Yes. Then there is Sparkling Trash Panda. They said, animal spirits are very real. I worked at my last animal hospital for 5 years after graduating vet school and had some odd experiences involving recently deceased pets. My practice manager also swore she had seen the spirits of some pets that were recently euthanized right before the cremation company picked them up from our body freezer. I remember seeing one of my patients, a golden doodle, who we were treating for pancreatic cancer the day after she was euthanized. Prior to her passing away, I had spent the past couple of months by her side while she was receiving treatment, and I grew very close to her. I was the first to arrive to work on a Thursday morning after having the previous day off work. I saw her clear as day wagging her tail in the kennel. I remember thinking she looked a lot better as I walked past her kennel to set my purse down. We didn't do overnight boarding at my animal hospital, so I was confused as to why she was there so early before anyone else had even arrived. One of my vet techs arrived 30 minutes after me and told me she was euthanized the evening prior. I couldn't believe it. I know I saw her that morning. I opened the body freezer and saw her bag with her toe tag attached to it. It still makes me emotional when I think about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things, too, where, like, as a vet tech or anybody who works in a vet's office, that's one of those inevitable things that they have to, deal with. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I'll just interject here briefly, but I lost one of my companion dogs. Well, I guess my companion dog for like 9 years during COVID. And obviously she didn't pass from COVID, but we don't really know exactly what happened. We just know that her belly was filling up with fluids, and they didn't know where it was coming from, and she was in a lot of pain. She wasn't eating, like she was just skin and bones except for her belly, which was distended. But I have such respect for the people who work in that field because, at the time they weren't letting anybody into the veterinary offices or anything like that, especially for emergency. So a lot of people I know, if they had to put down their pets, they weren't there. They couldn't be there with their baby. But this place, they were like, you know what? No, you can be there, but they brought out my dog, Micah, outside of like the back door of the clinic because they're like, no, she's not going to be alone. We can't let you in, but this is a way around the rules type of deal.
Oh.
Yeah. So the worst part about that was like, whenever they brought her out to me, she was all happy, wagging her tail. She saw the car and she tried to go to the car, which was just heartbreaking because, So they let me hold her, and they had like a really long line, for the medicine and stuff.
Oh.
And so I just appreciate, and I can't even imagine how much times they have to feel sad and sorry, for pet owners and stuff like that. Like
I could not imagine not being there with Teddy.
Yeah, and I couldn't have either. And I'm so grateful that that they decided to bend the rules a little bit.
Yes.
For me, but.
Yeah, you guys, if you have to put an animal down, you need to be there. So many times you hear stories of how people don't want to be there because it's too sad. Well, think about your animal. You need to be there for them. Okay, so this next story, this person deleted their account, so I don't know who posted it, but it says, when I was young, I'd say between ages 3 to 6, we had a ghost dog in our house. I don't remember what it looked like, but I do remember petting it and it scratching at my door to be let in. At the time, my parents told me it was an imaginary friend, but when I was older, they told me that they think it was a spirit, as it actually left scratches at the door, and they could hear it coming up and down the stairs.
Okay.
And
I like when there's, I like when there's like a corroboration between multiple people.
Yes, and they go on to say that they had a golden retriever, and they can still hear its barks sometimes at their dad's house. And they said that their dad lives out in the country with no neighbors or anything, so it's not like just a dog in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. The next story is, I don't know how to say this name, Stykyte maybe? Stykyt. We have a ghost cat. We have a house that is good at letting us know where the cats are due to the loose floorboards creaking and their claws on the wood affecting flooring downstairs. There is also a broken tile in the kitchen that every cat we have ever lived with will always step on their way into the kitchen, as it's the only straight line between the door and the gap in the sideboard cabinets. Most people step on it too, so no matter how many times we fix it, it always becomes a terracotta cat detector again. It clicks reliably for each cat that enters the kitchen. You can see it rock back and forth on the crud that collects underneath it as they do. When I rattle the bowls for food in the kitchen, I should at the moment hear 4 sets of cats making their way to the kitchen, and most of the time I do. Their movement is easy to follow through the ceilings, but sometimes there's an extra set of noises, so you might miss it among the other 4 cats, but everyone here is sure they have heard it. It starts to get kind of creepy, however, when all of our cats are already present and accounted for in the kitchen, waiting for food, and then I start to move the bowls and set them on the side. The familiar thud of a cat jumping down from a comfy place in the room above me will make me cast my eyes up, and then across the ceiling, following the familiar sound of a cat making its way down for food. What gets me is the cats all hear it too. They watch with me, following the sound as it pads down the stairs, then clicks on the wooden floor just out of sight before the doorway, then silence. Then the tile moves and makes the noise it does every time a cat enters the room. The cats look at the empty space in front of the tile and move accordingly to let another cat into the "please feed me human" begging circle. Then I wonder, should I get another bowl out?
Yeah, get the bowl out.
Do it. Okay, and then I have some famous stories. There is the myth of the blue dog. It's said to be the oldest ghost story in American history. Blue Dog's legend originated in the 1700s in Port Tobacco, Maryland. According to the tale, Charles Thomas Sims, accompanied by his loyal hound, Blue Dog, entered a tavern one night. Sims boasted to the locals about his wealth and gold and ownership of a sizable estate. After a night of heavy drinking, Sims and the Blue Dog left, only to be pursued by a man named Henry Haynes, who sought to steal Sims' gold. Their confrontation took place on Rose Hill Road, resulting in the deaths of both Sims and Blue Dog. Haynes then buried the gold under a large holly tree on the same road, intending to retrieve it later. However, when he returned 3 days later, he encountered the ghost of Blue Dog, who had returned to protect his master's treasure. Locals claim that every February 8th, on the anniversary of the robbery, the howling of Blue Dog can still be heard near the tree, as he patiently waits for his master to come back for his riches.
I love me some ghost pet stories.
Yes. And then there is a demon cat at the Capitol.
At the Capitol.
At the Capitol. During the Civil War, a sighting sparked the beginning of the legend, which gained more popularity in the 19th century when paw prints were found in wet concrete inside the Capitol building. When supposedly those paw prints are still there, I don't know. The creature was given the name Demon Cat because it cleverly matched the initials of its location and accurately described its behavior. Initially, the cat appears to be a typical feline, either black or tabby in color, but its innocent facade doesn't endure. It undergoes a transformation, growing to the size of an elephant.
Okay.
While its eyes emit a blinding, unnatural glow. The presence of the malicious feline is often considered an unfortunate omen. The initial occurrence of this phenomenon was possibly connected to the passing of President John Quincy Adams, and subsequent sightings were said to predict the occurrence of the stock market collapse in 1929, as well as the assassinations of President Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy. Intriguingly, there have been no reported sightings since then. Then we have our sweet Preston, the protector of children. This is the story of Preston, an amiable specter canine who frequents the streets of Nashville's Belmont Hillsborough neighborhood on Halloween nights. According to legend, nearly half a century ago, Preston was strolling alongside a pack of costumed children when one young boy stooped to retrieve some candy he had dropped on the road. Sensing danger, the boy's elder sister rushed to rescue him from an approaching vehicle. But it was Preston, the boxer, who reached him first. With selfless heroism, Preston pushed the child out of harm's way, yet tragically became the victim of the oncoming car himself. After ensuring her brother's safety, the girl searched for Preston, but mysteriously found no trace of his physical form. Nowadays, locals affirm that every Halloween, if trick-or-treaters venture too close to the street, they feel a gentle nudge from Preston's benevolent spectral presence, nudging them back onto the sidewalk. Preston diligently wanders the neighborhood until all the lights dim, a testament to his unwavering loyalty and unconditional canine love.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. Then we have Poogan. Poogan the porch dog. In Charleston, South Carolina, residents fondly remember a street dog named Poogan, who was adored by everyone in the 1970s. Poogan would roam from house to house, happily accepting food and finding comfort on any available porch. His favorite spot was the porch of a grand mansion located at 72 Queen Street, where the owners always treated him kindly. However, when the couple moved and sold their mansion, Poogan was left behind to sleep on the porch. Eventually, the house was transformed into a restaurant, and Poogan, the street dog, was still allowed to nap there and even had the role of greeting customers. In 1979, Poogan passed away from natural causes, but the restaurant continues to pay tribute to him. Interestingly, diners have reported hearing barking upon entering the restaurant and feeling the presence of a small dog brushing against their legs while they eat. Some employees have even spotted Poogan peacefully resting on his porch.
That is so sweet. Tell me you have the story of Captain and Boss.
No, but I don't think I do, but keep that in mind because I want to hear it after this.
Okay.
Alright, 2 ghostly hounds. This account originates from Christopher Knight, the actor known for playing Peter Brady in the popular television show The Brady Bunch.
Ooh, I love celebrity ghost stories.
Yeah. Knight shared a story about a peculiar occurrence during his stay at his friend's grandparents' home. While in bed, 2 hound dogs appeared at the foot of his bed. Rather than being menacing or frightening, these dogs exuded a sense of regality and tranquility. Accompanying them was a little girl who called out to them from the doorway, only to disappear as they departed. The following day, Knight mentioned the dogs to his friend's grandparents, who then guided him to their study and uncovered a portrait of 2 hound dogs that had once resided on the property. Remarkably, these dogs bore an uncanny resemblance to the ones Knight had encountered in his bedroom. To this day, Knight firmly believes that these apparitions were checking in on him as he slept. Strangely enough, no explanation was ever offered regarding the little girl. Then we have the Hummelball Howl. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania is reputedly a highly haunted location in America. My throat just made a very weird noise.
I heard it. I heard the noise.
I don't even know what that was. A highly haunted location. I have a haunted throat. Location in America due to its involvement in the American Civil War. During that period, the Hummelball I don't know how you say that, house, served as a field hospital for the Union Army. One of the notable incidents associated with the house is the death of Confederate Brigadier General William Barksdale, who was wounded in battle and passed away there. According to legend, after Barksdale's burial in Gettysburg, his wife traveled to the town, accompanied by his faithful hunting hound. The intention was to unearth his remains and bring them back to their home in Mississippi. However, upon reaching the burial site, the hound laid beside the grave and began to wail mournfully. Despite all efforts, Barksdale's wife was unable to persuade the dog to move. Throughout the night, the hound remained by the grave, emitting sorrowful howls. Even after the exhumation of the remains, the dog continued to stay at the grave, refusing to eat or drink. Local accounts suggest that no one could coax the dog to leave. Eventually, the faithful hound perished next to his master's grave. To this day, visitors of the Hummelball house claim they can still hear the haunting sound of howling emanating from the cemetery, particularly on the anniversary of Barksdale's death.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it is. Then we have Spot. I watched this video. It's from the dodo. It's an interview done by the dodo. You know what? Have you heard of the dodo?
Uh-huh.
In California, I think it was right before we met y'all, we had rescued a dog off the side of a highway, and it was a pit bull that no one could, like, it was out there for a month, and no one could rescue it. It was, like, in these thick sticker bushes, and nobody could get to it, but our neighborhood got together and got a rescue group out there and got the dog, and James and I fostered him, and the dodo did a story on it.
Oh!
So there's a video out there of, I think they called him Tarzan because he was out there like in the sticker bushes and stuff, but I had renamed him Pork Chop. But okay, so this is Spot, and Ellie Thomas is being interviewed, and she shared a story about her family's dog. Spot was a black and white terrier mix. He was rescued by Ellie and her husband after they came across him at a street fair. Spot became an integral part of their family, growing up alongside their children. After many years, Spot passed away and was laid to rest on the hill behind their old home. Years later, the Thomas family moved out of the home. After some time, the family received a phone call from the new owners. The new owners mentioned that they often spotted a small black and white dog, seemingly a terrier with black spots, standing at the end of the hallway near the bedrooms. The Thomas family was astonished, believing that this was the spirit of their beloved Spot, who seemed unable to part with the place where they shared so many happy memories. According to the new owners, various individuals have witnessed Spot's presence in the hallway, as if he's watching over everyone residing in the house.
Oh, that's just so sweet. We don't deserve pets.
We don't. Then there is the ghost cat of the Jerome Grand Hotel. Jerome, Arizona, is filled with a wealth of historical artifacts. In its early days, it flourished as a mining town. However, as a result of a severe economic decline and the precarious location of structures on the steep slopes of Cleopatra Hill, which posed a threat of landslides, the town was gradually abandoned and transitioned into a ghost town. Jerome has recently undergone revitalization efforts, leading to its emergence as a highly popular tourist destination. One noteworthy attraction is the United Verde Hospital. The hospital, once a busy medical facility for the mining town, has now been converted into a sought-after hotel, the Jerome Grand Hotel. Visitors who have stayed overnight have shared their experiences of encountering ghosts in different manifestations, with a significant chance of coming across a ghostly feline roaming the third floor of the hotel. The phantom feline, though not always physically present, provides solace to those yearning for their cherished pets. This cat is nearly invisible and displays behaviors such as snuggling at the foot of the bed, scratching doors, and affectionately brushing against legs.
It's so sweet. Even a kitty. I'm surprised that a cat is that social. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
That was a special cat. The only social cats I've ever known are like my cats and your cats. Other cats that I know, they were not social.
Every cat, I've had a ton of cats, and every cat I've had has been super sweet and loving and social, but you have to raise them like that. I mean,
only in my adult life have I had, only in my adult life have I had cats like that.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid now.
Yeah, you just, they got to be raised like that. I actually watched, I think it might have been Animal Planet or Discovery, I don't know, it was something, and they were saying that cats are actually very closely related to their wild family, you know, like lions and stuff, on their rateability of how wild they are.
That tracks.
Yeah. So, like, they're like a miniature wild cat in your home is what it is. And you just got to raise them, you know, to be more domesticated.
Our cats, for sure, like especially our new baby boy Breeze, he is the most lovable cat I've ever had in my entire life. I'll get to him later, but I'm just saying.
Do you have him in your lap right now?
No, Adam shut the door. Hold on. He shut the door and locked him out of the room.
Oh, I thought I heard her. Maybe it was a ghost cat.
No. And you probably heard him meowing in the background. I could let him in, but he will be noisy and demand my attention. Go meow, meow. And you will hear his purr too, because he's a very loud purr. But he thought that we wouldn't want the noise.
So I have a few more. This one is probably my favorite. It's the shortest one, but it's just silly. It's the ghost chicken of Pond Square.
Oh, God.
So now...
Chicken.
Yeah. Now for the account of renowned statesman and philosopher Francis Bacon, whose demise was allegedly...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you laughing at his name?
Yes, but no. Anyway, because in my head, I'm laughing at myself because you said a ghost chicken, but then you said Francis Bacon, and my ADHD brain hadn't caught up yet, so I thought it was a ghost pig and his name was Bacon, and I was laughing about that. But then my brain caught up and was like, oh yeah, it's a chicken, and that's the other person.
Oh my gosh, no, but this Bacon was killed by the chicken did not kill him, but because of what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Anyways, okay, so... Francis Bacon, whose demise was allegedly linked to a groundbreaking experiment in meat preservation. So, according to the English historian John Aubrey, Sir Francis Bacon came up with the idea of using snow to preserve meat. He was so fascinated by the concept that he decided to try it out by stuffing a chicken with snow. Unfortunately, I guess because he was out in the cold for so long, this experiment had severe consequences. Soon after, Bacon fell seriously ill with pneumonia and ultimately died from suffocation caused by excessive mucus buildup in his chest. Yes, Bacon was dead, but it was not the spirit of Bacon that revisited the location of that pivotal experiment, but rather that of a partially plucked chicken, presumably seeking retribution for his untimely demise. Referred to as the Highgate Chicken Ghost, this avian entity supposedly roams London's Pond Square in circular motions, vanishing whenever someone approaches.
Now that is so ridiculous, I love it.
I wonder if that's where they get the, running in circles like a chicken with his head cut off.
Oh my god.
The Pond Square chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Then, did you know the Stanley Hotel? You know the Stanley Hotel from The Shining?
Mm-hmm.
They have a pet cemetery.
Of course they would, because why wouldn't they?
Oh, well, okay. I guess it does make sense. But the spirits of the deceased animals tend to find their way into the hotel. Cassie, a golden retriever, can be found in the hotel. She enjoys locating treats and delivering newspapers. And Comanche, a fluffy white feline known for its tendency to meander through the halls and occasionally venture into guests' rooms. The end on that one.
The end.
I guess that one was the shortest. So this one is the mysterious phenomenon at, I don't know how to say this, Ballachin House? Sure. During the 19th century, Ballachin, a resident in Scotland, gained a reputation as the most haunted house in the country. Its owner, Robert Stewart, an army major with eccentric tendencies, strongly believed in the theory of transmigration of souls. He was convinced that after his passing, he would be reborn as a dog. In order to facilitate this supposed transition, Stewart surrounded himself with 14 dogs, hoping that one of them would eventually become the vessel for his soul. Stewart remained unmarried throughout his life, go figure, and when he passed away, his nephew became the owner of the house. In an attempt to keep Stewart's spirit from returning to the house, the new owner made the decision to have all the dogs on the estate killed.
No!
Asshole. However, this cruel act had an unintended consequence. Instead of achieving his goal, it is believed that Stewart's spirit now haunts Balachin as a ghost without a physical form. Shortly after Stewart's demise, the wife of his nephew was engrossed in her work in the study when she noticed an intense smell resembling that of a dog, accompanied by a gentle nudge against her leg as if from a canine. Simultaneously, peculiar sounds, ranging from explosions to heated arguments, commenced resonating throughout the entire house. Servants and governesses became fearful of Balachin's potential haunting and began resigning from their positions. In 1895, Stewart's nephew heard 3 forceful knocks on his door. Later that day, he encountered a fatal accident involving a cab. It was then thought the 3 knocks were a warning. Subsequently, a family who moved into the residence in 1896 lasted a mere 11 weeks before deciding to relocate due to ongoing disturbances. Over time, there were increasing reports of similar occurrences at Balachin. While not every account revolved around dogs, a significant number did. It was frequent to hear claims of invisible dogs brushing against the legs of guests. One narrative depicted the manifestation of a black spaniel interacting with a living dog, while another unsettling apparition involved disembodied black paws materializing on the bedside table. Ultimately, the occurrence of paranormal phenomena diminished, starting with an investigation that lost credibility and caused the entire reputation of the house to be dismissed due to pranks and obvious explanations. By 1932, the house was left empty. In 1963, a fire destroyed the building, and there was no further news about Stewart and his spaniels. And then we have the mysterious specter of Athelhampton.
Excuse me. Sorry.
At Athelhampton, a historic Tudor mansion in Dorset, England, it is believed that there are 6 human apparitions residing. Although they are considered eerie, their existence is overshadowed by the estate's 7th supernatural presence, an ape. The ape had become a cherished member of the Martin family, having been transported to England via ship, and eventually coming into the possession of Sir William Martin. A particularly strong bond had developed between the ape and one of Martin's daughters. In actuality, the ape had such a profound concern for the daughter that when she secluded herself in a hidden chamber with the intent of ending her life, the devoted ape chose to accompany her. In certain renditions of the tale, the daughter ultimately had a change of heart. In other versions, she remained steadfast in her decision to take her life. And however, whatever the rendition you want to go with, it's a unanimous consensus that the ape remained trapped within that concealed chamber and devoid of any means of escape or sustenance, so it ultimately succumbed to starvation. The ape was rumored to linger in the estate and trying to break free by scratching at the walls. So witnesses have reported seeing an ape swinging around the house and playing with himself.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's very odd. So that was the last one I actually researched, but I am going to add a link because I found, and I kind of wish I would have found this link before I did all these other ones, because it talks about a lot of different animals. So there's this, it talks about a monkey of Carew Castle, a raven of Holt Castle, a white hare of Loo, and these are all ghost animals. Ghost eagles at Castle Cock. I don't know how to say that. Coch. Koch? Kosh? Let's say Kosh. A lion at Regent's Park Zoo. Jumbo of Wistman's Wood. I don't know what Jumbo is. And then the ape that I talked about. A bear at the Tower of London.
How frightening.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the person, like, people, of all the apparitions they can see at the Tower of London, they see a bear?
Right.
I would be frightened.
And a dog. And then the last one is a talking mongoose.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
This link that I'm adding is from higgypop.com, so look for that link if you are interested in reading about the talking mongoose and his pals. And that's my segment.
Okay, so I didn't research this one specifically because it's just a story that I know of. I know I've mentioned that I lived in North Carolina and I loved Wilmington and I loved going on the ghost walks and stuff like that. And one of the stories that I learned about on the ghost walks was about Captain and Boss. So it's a working man and his doggo, essentially. And I was really surprised you didn't say it, but that's fine because I love the story. It makes me want to cry. I told the story theatrically once for a competition because it was just so moving. But I'm not going to do my theatric rendition. I'm going to read the story, and then of course I'll link where I got it from. We'll link where we got it from, wherever it's linked at. Wherever Crystal puts it.
It'll be somewhere. Find it.
So this is the true story of Captain and Boss. Wilhelm A. Ello-Brock is the main dude in our story here, the main human. And he was born in Germany in 1855, so obviously this was quite a long time ago. And Wilhelm wanted to immigrate to Wilmington, so he did. And he did that in 1872, and he moved in with his maternal uncle, so his mom's brother, Henrik T. Limmerman, on Princess Street in Wilmington. So his uncle co-owned Lemmerman and Coney tugboats, and William apprenticed under him. He needed a job, and Uncle was like, "Hey, I got you, boo." After
Is
Wilhelm,
that what he said?
That's totally what he said. After he mastered the trade, he became a tugboat captain for Heidi and Company. So he was a very active member in the Wilmington community. He even volunteered with the Howard Relief Fire Company. And the Howard Relief Fire Company was organized by German and Irish citizen volunteers who served without pay, actually. So these group of men is quite amazing. He had this dog, right? So accompanied by his Newfoundland. And I don't know if you know what a Newfoundland dog looks like, but they're quite
really big.
Yeah, they're quite striking. He named his buddy Boss, his Newfoundland companion that was Boss. So Captain Ello-Brock was a familiar face around town, especially as he was walking side by side with Boss, his, again, Newfoundland doggo. Not just little, there's a big doggo. So all the research that has gone into looking up Wilhelm and Boss, he was well liked, and there wasn't many major red flags that you would be like, oh, too bad, I don't care about this dude. Yay, him and his doggo were great, which honestly makes the story more sad.
Is it Newfoundland?
Yes, that's how you would spell it. Am I saying it wrong?
I don't know. I was just trying to look up a picture.
Yeah.
It kind of looks, I don't know if it's the same kind of dog, but it looks like the dog from Peter Pan, that big fluffy dog that babysat the kid.
Nana?
Nana! Yes, it looks like Nana.
Yeah. Here comes the tragic part. After midnight on April 11th in 1880, fire alarms rang out when the J.H. Our Friend's storefront at the corner of Dock and Front went up in flames. And, of course, Captain Ello-Brock answered the call. He entered the burning building, leaving Boss outside as an onlooker. She's like, obviously you're not going to bring your dog into the burning building. But unfortunately, nothing could prevent Boss from running inside when the walls were collapsing.
No.
And Ello-Brock screams, obviously there were accounts that they reverberated the streets, and it was just heartbreaking. So the bodies of Captain and Boss were found the next day, and Boss laid near Ello-Brock with the cloth from his clothing still in her mouth, proof that she attempted to pull him to safety. Like, she was literally, like, trying to drag him. So Captain Ellerbrock was buried in the Oakdale Cemetery with Boss at his side. And so the pair, they're like inseparable in death just as they were in life. So, and here's like the ghosty part of it. Some say Boss haunts the corner of dock in front night after night, attempting to save the captain. Aww. Like he's living on repeat, just hoping that one of these days he can, save his buddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Save her buddy. And like, that one obviously was whenever I went on the ghost walk and whenever I told it, theatrically, definitely more entertaining and engaging, but because there's so much more details and nuance that you can tell about the story, about the life of, and the life of Boss and Captain together as, just like, I don't know. It's something special, I think.
Like a familiar.
Yeah. Like a familiar, yes. I guess that's a good segue to the next topic that I have. But anyhow, let me compose myself because that one really, like, I'm remembering all of the details, and it's sad and like heartbreaking, and then also very heartwarming at the same time. Because, as we know, there are animals that sometimes people are fortunate enough to meet in their lifetime that become their bond, their soul buddy. And yeah. Anyway, so my topic was mostly about animals as well, but more or less on the witchy side of it, like animal familiars or companions, and I'll briefly talk about spirit animals as well. And excuse me, I'm sorry. I always have the hiccups. It's because
you're not throwing up.
Yeah, that's true.
You guys, that totally happened while we were recording once. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was when I was living with Josh too, and I just opened the door. I was like, hold on, that was good.
And I was like, did you just throw up?
Yeah, I did. Anywho.
And you kept going too. You were like a pro.
Oh, right. So, I'm going to talk about briefly the history of familiars. So, way back in the day, in the intriguing mystical days of the European witch hunts, familiars actually held a sinister reputation that believed to be bestowed upon by two witches by the devil himself. So, Rosemary Gully's Encyclopedia of Witches and Witchcraft. Rosemary, oh my god. This is like a serious tongue twister. Rosemary Gully's Encyclopedia of Witches and Witchcraft unveils... I couldn't do it.
I was trying so hard not to laugh.
Okay. Rosemary Gully's Encyclopedia of Witches and Witchcraft. Rich. One more time.
You can do it.
Rosemary Gully's Encyclopedia of Witches and Rich. Why? I guess now one more time. I'll get it. Rosemary Gully's Encyclopedia of Witches and Witchcraft unveils a world where these... I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh when I said world.
You did great. You're doing great.
Okay. Unveils a world where these familiars were essentially small demons. And these familiars, or demons as the common folk would like to call them, were said to carry out the witch's bidding. And it was a lot easier in their mind for an animal to do the witch's bidding than the witch herself, because who would really suspect an animal? And honestly, we really think about the idea of a witch's familiar being a cat or a toad, but there was a lot of different small animals that were thought to be witches' familiars that included dogs, toads, snails, frogs. I know that's also kind of an amphibian. We also had some lizards and snakes and all. It was like pretty much any woman who had a pet of any kind, that was her familiar. She was a witch.
Go figure.
No. If we venture into Scandinavian folklore, familiars took on a different essence. The familiars in the Scandinavian folklore were more associated with the spirits of the land and nature. So this means that fairies and dwarves and elemental beings were believed to inhabit the physical bodies of animals.
Interesting.
Yeah. However, of course, with the rise of the Christian church, such practices were driven underground, as any spirit other than an angel was deemed to be a demon. One of the more unfortunate consequences that happened during the witch hunt was that there was a mass killing of domestic animals.
Oh.
Yeah, because they thought they were linked to these known witches and heretics and stuff. Because there was even some evidence that people claimed that there was cows and goats and stuff that were familiars to these quote unquote witches. And let me tell you, I strongly believe that was just like, I mean, we all know the witch hunt was literally a witch hunt and wasn't actually about stopping witches or whatever. It was more political and personal and stuff like that. So, hey, this family killed the witch. I'm going to kill your livestock too, so anybody in there, or I'm going to quote-unquote save it, baptize it. Now I have a whole flock of cows. You know that it was motivated by other things.
Yeah, it's preying on people's ignorance to get what they want.
Yeah. One of the more famous, I would say, familiar instances that related to a witch trial happened in Salem, because there was an individual, like a witch, quote unquote, that was charged with bewitching a dog to attack somebody else. And it had a very peculiar trial, which the dog himself was put on trial.
Oh, yeah,
and found guilty.
I think they did that to a pig before too.
Yeah, and they hanged the dog. Yeah, it wasn't just like we're going to like put these animals down. They like executed them like, and anyway, why are people so dumb? I mean, I don't understand the cruelty of humans throughout history, so that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, in shamanistic traditions, the concept of an animal familiar isn't exactly physical. It's more of like a thought form or like a spiritual entity that's often goes through like the astral realm or serving as like a magical guardian against psychic attacks, or it helps you guide, or it helps you make decisions or nudges you in certain directions, that sort of thing. With the now neo-pagan community, the term familiar has evolved to encompass living animals now, and many pagans now refer to their animal companions, if it's a cat, a dog, or whatever, as their familiar, emphasizing that they have an emotional and or psychic bond with that animal. And there's many people who emphasize, many people meaning like self-proclaimed pagans or witches or even like historians, say that discovering a familiar is not a universal experience or even desire. So many believe that if you have pets or a familiar, it can enhance your psychic abilities or your spiritual abilities or make you feel more connected with the earth. So that's a reason why people may want a familiar. But also, it's kind of important to note that like familiars kind of choose their humans. As somebody who does believe in familiars, I 100% believe that the animal will choose you. Because I've had many, many animals in my life. And right now I have like 7 pets, okay? But they're not all obviously my familiars. And it's a different feeling. Personally, I had my first familiar, no joke, when I was about 9 or 10 years old. My mom, and this is like the first cat I ever had too. My mom had came home from work and she had like something under her shirt and she was like, "So do you think you've been good this year?" And I immediately knew, like without even knowing what was going on. I was like, "You got me a cat." Like I knew it was a cat and I had been wanting a cat for a long time. And my mom said that she was just driving and she saw the little kitten in the desert while she was driving home, just by himself, and like whatever. I mean, come on. Like, right? He found me, I feel, because she wasn't going to relent to giving me a kitten for a while, I guess. But she saw this little baby, and then she came home, and then I immediately knew it was there. So he was a fluffy little black kitten with green eyes, just like your typical witch familiar, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I named him Onyx because I was 10 and I didn't know any different. So there's a lot of cats named Onyx, but he was my Bon. I called him for short. And he would come when I called him. He was an indoor-outdoor cat. And whenever I would open the door to call him in for bed, he would come. You know, I wouldn't even know where he was at. He was probably out gallivanting with some of the ladyhood cats. I don't know. But I would call him, and then I just have to wait a few minutes, sometimes less than that, and he would just come in and, you know, go on. And so I had this cat for very, very many years. But the thing is, when I got married and moved to North Carolina, I left him with my parents, and that was really hard for me. And my parents were like, yeah, he's kind of depressed too. So I kind of had to do like a releasing ritual. Yeah. You know, like a releasing ceremony with him. So he and I weren't tied like that anymore because at the time I couldn't bring him with me. And he was very happy, you know, he was very happy and comfortable with his home. And that cat lived to be like 20 years old. Oh my gosh. Like seriously, like 20-year-old cat. His tail even fell off when he was older. Like it just fell off and he survived that. I'm like, what?
His tail fell off.
His tail fell off, yeah.
From what?
Who knows? My dad didn't know. My sister didn't know. They're like, yeah, he got an infection, I guess, or like a scrape. Maybe he got in a fight, and then his tail rotted up, and they thought that he was going to pass because, dude, when you have an infection, you can go septic. You know what I mean? Yeah. But instead, his tail just fell off, and that stopped the infection. And I'm like, I didn't know my cat was part lizard. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. And so I hadn't had a familiar in a long time, and I mean, even though Micah, the dog I was talking about, I loved her a lot, and she really helped me through, you know, my husband's deployments and stuff when he was in the military. I didn't feel like she was my familiar. I don't know how to explain. I mean, you know, like you and Teddy were like knit, you know what I mean? But I've always kind of felt there is something there, I don't know, like in the universe for me still. And my little Denji dog, I call him Denji Poop because when he was a baby, he used to poop in the crate a lot, and I hated it, but I loved him so damn much. He was hard to crate train. Anyway, so my little Denji, I love him, but it's like, I feel like he's close to a guardian or than like a familiar. Like he won't help me with practices or anything, but he's definitely like a caregiver.
Yeah.
You know, and then I have my cat Breeze, who he has a separate role in my life. Don't know how to explain his role. Like he just provides mischievousness.
Mischievous?
Yeah, like he just provides me with some fun, and he's so cuddly and cute and stuff like that. And he's really interested in what I do in my craft room. Like really interested. But then I got a snake.
Yeah.
Okay. And let me explain to you some background information on the idea of a reptile and all that stuff. So, firstly, I never, ever thought that I would be a snake owner. I'm like, I don't want anything that is going to want to eat me, which I'm sure he might. He's a snake, whatever, you know.
But he's so little.
Yeah, but you know what? Frogs, they are more aggressive than snakes are. They will just eat you. They don't care. They'll just try. That's like people like, oh, it's so cute. My frog is biting on. No, that frog is dumb and is trying to eat you. At least the snake is smarter than that. Yeah, he doesn't realize he's too small. You know what I mean? Like he's just gonna try.
Poor dumb frog.
I know.
He's just so hungry.
So a while ago, I got a reading on, like a spirit guide reading. I kind of wanted to get to know my spirit guides or my spirit guardians or whatever you want to call it. And so I was told about a few, and this one particular was quite interesting to me because I didn't really, like it makes sense in my brain. Like I didn't really consider that, you know, animals can be your spirit guardians or, you know, spirit guides, that sort of thing. But it's like a pair of them, and one was like more avian in nature, and the other one was more reptilian in nature. And so, like, a year or so later, I got another reading because I wanted to know more about them, that pair, because, like, they come in a pair, like, they're just, you know, they're partners, or a duo, the avian one and the reptile one. And I just wanted to know more. And they're like, yeah, you know, one, it makes you grounded, the other one, it gives you the carefreeness, you know what I mean? Obviously, the carefreeness would be the avian, and making me grounded, thoughtful, and cunning would be the snake, or the reptile one. So, flash forward to, I wanted to go to this reptile expo here local, where I live, and I thought it was something else, because last year I went to, like, a reptile and pet expo, which I thought, but that we got there and we got to, like, pet turtles, pet wolf dogs, we got to learn about different types of reptiles, and there was things for sale, like little, like, items and stuff. So it had a blast, because I got to interact with so many different animals, and I was like, hey, they might actually be selling these animals, and we're like, maybe we'll get a turtle, because Adam, my husband, has always wanted a pet turtle. So on the way there, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous, but yeah, sure, like, we'll do it, I'm just not prepared. I was like, we'll get a baby one. We'll have a few years before it gets big enough that we have to worry about the habitat outside. And he's like, okay, fine, cool. We're wandering around, looking, and I quickly realized it is not what I thought it was. It's literally an expo for people to sell the reptiles that they breed. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, so we got to see a bunch of different reptiles. We even got to see a legless lizard, and that was cool.
What?
Yeah, lizard with no legs.
Wouldn't that just be a snake?
It's not a snake. It has eyelids, man.
Was it, like, deformed?
No, there's just a breed of lizards, apparently, that just have no legs. And they're mistaken for snakes all the time.
Okay, I'm Googling this.
Yeah. As you're Googling that, I'll continue. So we were talking to people. I got to hold some snakes and stuff. And then I was talking to this man who was selling boas. No, not boas. Maybe boas? No, python. He was selling ball pythons. And I was asking him a question about the, like, how often do they bite, or, like, their temperament. And he was, like, manhandling the snake and moving its head all around. And so, you know what? He was like, here, let me see your hand. He opened the snake's mouth and was like, put your finger in its mouth. And I was like, what? So I put my finger in a full-grown ball python's mouth when I found out that the snake's teeth are like sandpaper.
Oh, okay.
That's not what I expected teeth in a snake would feel like. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not scary. It hurts. I bet you it hurts worse to get bit by a bird, and I've been bitten by a bird. And obviously it hurts worse to get bit by a dog or a cat than being bit by a snake, if we're honest. So we walk around, we get to this booth, and they have these little baby snakes, little tiny guys. And so I just start talking to the owners of that booth, and they were like, oh yeah, these are corn snakes, and telling me all about them. And then they pulled out this little snow-colored corn snake. They called it a motley snow color, so it has, like, albino genes in it. And I kid you not, like, I got the hugest rush within my body, like butterflies all over the second he pulled the snake out. Like, the second, and I'm like, oh my god, and I'm, like, shaking, you know, because I'm like, you know, we're still thinking we're gonna get Adam a turtle at this point, right? And then Adam, he sees me, and I look at him, and I don't even have to say anything. And he was like, yeah, we'll get the snake. And I was just like, oh my god. Like, it was the weirdest thing I've ever had. Like, I'm looking at these snakes. He pulls out this little tiny snake. And then I'm literally, like, my heart rate's gone up. I feel myself getting flush. I'm, like, butterflies in my stomach. My hairs are on end. And I was like, oh my god. Okay, so I'm going to go home with the snake. And I just thought about, the spirit guides that I was told about, being one of them a reptilian, and I found out her name was Sylvie, my reptile snake guardian, or reptile guardian. I don't know if she's a snake. I know she's a reptile. And so, since my snake is a boy, and yes, he is a confirmed boy, I'm like, I'm going to name him Syl, to, like, connect to my my spirit guardian. And I cannot tell you how, I was adamant I would never have a snake ever. Like, I was afraid of, not really afraid, but just, like, meh about snakes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the second they pulled out Syl, I was like, oh my god, I'm going home with that snake. Like, you know what I mean? And he's been great. We've had him for a little bit over a week, so this is freshly, a fresh sort of pet. And I hold him every day. Well, not every day, because after I feed him, I can't really hold him.
Why?
Well, because you want him to digest, and, I don't want him to regurgitate the food and whatever. You're supposed to leave him alone. But I hold him and I pick him up, and he's postured a little bit because he's a baby. He's nervous, right? But he has not acted one bit like any of those other baby snakes where when you pick them up, they're all flighty and they're like shaking their tails, acting like they're a rattler or something. And there's even some baby snakes that will strike at you. And that's him. And even when I feed him, he doesn't strike at the little pinky. It's not a live pinky. It's frozen. And then I thought, he just like slowly goes up to it and just puts his mouth on it, like all nonchalant, So I don't want to like confirm like just yet, but I really do feel like, I don't know, it's ridiculous, but my snake might be my spirit animal, I guess. And yeah.
It's not ridiculous.
And I say spirit animal, and I know that's, that's something that is kind of appropriated, and I feel like I can say it, but maybe not. Somebody, if you are listening to this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do have quite a bit of Native American blood in me. I know I'm not full blood. It's not my choice to not be full blood, obviously, but I've always felt a connection of my Native American heritage, but a fear of actually looking into it because I'm not full blood. You know what I mean?
That doesn't matter.
Yeah. And again, it's even I have enough Native American blood that I can get benefits from the government. You know what I mean? Like if I can get benefits from the government, I could also be put on like, a registry somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, but because I'm so white, I guess, I look so white, and I wasn't raised around my Native American family or anything like that, I feel like it's not my place to even get to know that side of me, if that makes sense.
No, you could totally, it's still a part of you.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. But I still, again, if anybody's listening, I would love to hear your thoughts on, if there is a line to be drawn, or, as long as you're not doing it disrespectfully, I guess. For me, I personally hate whenever I see those quizzes online that are like, oh, find out what spirit animal you have, or, I'm like, it doesn't, you can't, anyway.
Whereas I'm like, ooh, what am I?
Yeah. I mean, maybe, anyway.
I never thought of it like that before.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. And I am becoming much, aware of that, but that's a whole tangent. So anyway, a spirit animal is an animal that you would encounter, by chance, sort of. Going back to the familiars choosing you, a spirit animal would pretty much choose you too. And honestly, the spirit animal is considered to be a gift from the Creator to guide us on our life's journey. And, obviously within the Native American culture and beliefs, you're not having bears or eagles or all of your spirit animals as pets or anything like that, but Anywho, I think I lost my train of thought because I was trying to rationalize, being able to research that part of my...
Yeah.
Because honestly, if you look at it, my Native American blood is the highest percentage.
Oh, really?
Of all, my other stuff mixed together.
You are so white.
I know.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I was always told that I had Native American blood, and because I guess we have family that are, but when I did my DNA, I have none at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, I am super Irish and Scottish.
I mean, I've heard some of those DNAs can be faulty because I saw a few people on TikTok order different DNA kits, and they all had different things to say when they got the results back.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's you never really know with those DNA kits. But yeah, if anybody has their own sort of animal familiars, and you don't have to be pagan or practice these sort of religious practices.
Yeah,
or
just
you don't
an
have to
animal that you have a strong bond with.
And we'd love to hear about that because that bond with that animal is much different than the bond with your other animals, and you know it.
It is.
And you know it. That is all I have. I talked really fast about that familiar process, but if anybody did want to know about, gosh damn, if any, some of you may be wondering how you might know, like, an animal that you have, or maybe an animal, like, type of spirit that you might have a connection to is really bonded to you. You'll know, honestly. You'll know without question. And maybe if it's
Unlike anything else. Like Teddy, I was searching specifically for Yorkies. I was dead set on having a Yorkie, and I looked all over online. I had just set it up to where I was going to have one flown into me, and then I saw a picture of Teddy behind bars on a shelter site, and immediately I was like, cancel everything, that is my dog. And I went to the shelter, and he was way bigger than what I expected him to be, but I was like, no, this is him. This is my son.
That's your buddy.
Yes.
Yeah. That's your family. That's your blood.
My first baby.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how it will be. And those of you who are spiritually practicing, I have been asked in the past about, like, how you can create a spiritual bond with, the familiar that chose you. And let me tell you, I did this little ritual when I was a kid. So there's not a formula for it that you just, like, can Google, or it's just what feels right to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I had, like, a little ceremony with Onyx, and so to, like, officially anoint him as, my partner, my familiar, and I can't really tell you the details because, honestly, I don't remember all of them. I do remember it involved his favorite foods, my favorite smells, and, like, just a lot of cuddling and spending time together in my room, like, I had the room closed. Yeah. And then, of course, when I released him, it was kind of more of the same, but, like, reverse, sort of.
Different emotion.
Let him go. Yeah, exactly. So there really is no straight up one way to do that, and maybe there are some out there that don't even feel like they need to have a sort of ceremony one way or the other, and that's fine. Yeah. We all practice differently, and in my opinion, as long as, you live happy and harm none, I guess, then you're golden.
Go for it.
Yeah, then go for it.
Do whatever makes your heart sing. As long as it's not hurting things.
Exactly. Because if it is, I mean,
you need help.
Yeah. I mean, even some people, they practice, I guess, what they call baneful magic, and I'm not about that stuff, personally.
What is that?
That's where they'll, quote unquote, throw curses at people, or,
oh, God,
that sort of thing, and I'm like,
I don't need that karma.
I know. I'm like, that's not me. Like, if somebody does me wrong, I'm like, you know what? They'll get theirs by karma, not by me. So, and then secondly, I feel pretty protected in my house and in my mind and my body. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we are back.
We are back. And, of course, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and a follow. Consider commenting or emailing us at witchinandwinen@gmail.com. That's WITCHNANDWINEN@gmail.com. Send us your stories, everybody, about anything, really. Anything weird, paranormal, anything out there, crazy, whatever. We would love to hear them, and we'll read them on the show and everything, and we could talk about it. It would be great. It'd be fun. All right. I'm so tired. I bet. I'm just so exhausted. I was hysterically crying all day yesterday and all night, and I'm just drained. Yeah, well, hopefully you get to get extra sleep tonight. James could take care of the girls in the morning. All right.
Nighty night.